Hello, witches. Grab your goat, grab a drink, grab some protection magic, perhaps, grab a wand, grab some popcorn, because it is time for the Witches Movie Coven. Yes, witches. Five witches and one in the chat room talking about witches in movies. This week's movie we are doing Hokum. Recent film, a 2026 film, I do believe filmed in Ireland with great accents, Hokum. Hopefully you guys all watched it and we are going to talk about it. And I have my goats. And I am Patty Negri. I am one of your hosts. You might know me from The Witching Hour, my regular podcast, from Ghost Adventures, from YouTube, from influencers, from bathroom walls across America, from my book Dollcraft, or from my book Old World Magic for the Modern World, or from bathroom walls across America. I am honored and proud to be here with my coven mates, which I will pass it on to you right now, starting with the handsome and debonair Richard Lale.
I am Richard Lale. Richard Lale is one name, as it says right there. If I were just Richard, I'd be a D. I'd be a D. That being said, I am a psychic medium. Used to be a psychic small, but gained some weight. I'm working on that. Maybe I'll be a medium again. Anyway, that being said, I am well known in the paranormal world. I was on Ghost Adventures a couple of times. I am at University of Magicus. I am here in New Orleans for now, whenever, however long that may be. Yeah, I'm really easy to find. I'm a little bit of everywhere. Oh, also, join the coven right over here. If you would like to sleep with me, you certainly may buy the pillow that has my face. Lots of people do sleep with me because of that right there. At some point in the future, you will be able to get into Patty's panties, but not right now. But you can be a bro witch if you like. You can get Heather Green's book. You can get shirts. I didn't mind it. You can get quotes by Courtney Buckley. You can get all kinds of things. Go right over there. Also, the likes, the comments, the shares, those help us to continue to give great programming like this for you. We do read all of those comments in the section. So thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. And now let's move to the man with the golden locks, Jason Mankey. Or timing is everything. Let's move it over. Oh wait, okay.
Did I get like cut off?
You were frozen. Start over.
Oh no! All right, let's try that again. I am Jason Mankey, author of 10 books. 10 books. I can be found at bookstores across America and at your local pub when the World Cup is playing.
Thank you very much. And with glitter and sparkles. That's good. All right, let's move over to, we have a new background, Miss Courtney Buckley.
That's me, Courtney Buckley, Ghost Bait on Scared and Alone, and Mother of Dragons. I'm reporting to you live from the Reptile Room, which we have now. And with my newest friend, this is Linguini Marinara. He's the smallest snake that there ever was, so I love him a lot. Anyone want to take a guess what number reptiles we're up to now?
15.
Ooh, so close. 14.
Really?
Yep. And 2 spiders. We just got a tarantula, Gacy, back here. I don't know if you can see him in the corner. Nope. And we have our jumping spider, Necra. Nope. And our empty tank waiting for the next tarantula because it has to be aesthetic.
Nope.
Wow, 14. Oh my God.
Yep, Linguini's the newest. We just got him a couple days ago.
He's beautiful.
He's so small.
There's a horror movie coming straight from Courtney's house very soon.
Yeah, well, one of them, we finally had our first escape/bite. Because I insisted on getting a toke gecko, which if anybody knows anything about reptiles, they have a reputation, and he lived up to it. And I tried to name him something cool, but he ended up with the name Waffles McGee, and he escaped and drew blood. So now he has a warning sticker on his tank, and he's in the other room.
Jason has a warning for you. Jason is tired of all of these mother effing snakes on this mother effing plane.
I just know where I won't be staying on my next trip to Massachusetts.
Yeah. Do you guys have earthquakes in Massachusetts like we occasionally do on the West Coast?
Well, I'm not in Massachusetts anymore, but yes, we have very small ones, which I've never felt. Everybody else feels, and I never get to feel them. And then the one time I went to California, I was so excited to feel an earthquake, and I fell asleep because I had been on the plane for so long, and a huge earthquake happened, and I slept through it. And that was the only one that happened the whole time I was there.
Well, you'll have to come back. But I mean, I would just if I had a reptile room, I would worry about if we had the little shaker and you'd be chasing what now 14 lizards, snakes, spiders.
Well, we're more worried about power outages with like storms because they all need their lights to stay warm and alive. So we have to have emergency preparedness. I mean, I meal prep for the lizards. I don't meal prep for me. So now we have to have a emergency prep for the lizards and not for us. So
Wow. You have got to get a generator?
no, heat packs, like disposable heat packs. So in case we have to put them in little containers with heat packs to stay warm.
Wow. That's amazing that you went from a small family to a very large family. Good luck with that. Good luck. All right, moving along. Thank you. And last and never least, the beautiful Heather Green.
Hi, that's me. I am Heather Green, and I am the author of Lights, Camera, Witchcraft, which is right here. I have it. And I am also an editor at Llewellyn Worldwide. I work with authors writing witchcraft books, and I don't have 15 snakes, but I have at least 15 authors or more that I'm working with at any given time. So not the same thing. I'm not comparing them. I don't meal prep for my authors, Courtney. I am also a journalist covering all things occult in the mainstream media. And I am getting ready. I'm on the board of Mystic South, which is coming up next week. So we are working real hard right now, and the wheels are spinning straight towards the train is pulling out of the station, so to speak, for Mystic South, which is happening next week. But I'd also like to give a shout out, if it's okay, to all my friends in the South. We're entering the scariest season of the year. Speaking of spiders, it is now Joro season down in the Southeast. And if you are in the Southeast, I just want to give some love to all my friends here who are about to fight the Joros.
What's a Joro?
Well, a Joro is a spider that had came over here from Japan and is now invasive to the Southeast. They start out the size of a dime and end up the size of a sandwich plate. And if you let them grow and they make webs across tree expanses, they fly across and make giant webs. And the females can get to be about that big, and they're invasive. So you could have 30, 40, 50 or more on your property if you don't rid them, which I didn't the first season because I won't kill spiders because I love spiders. And that's a small one. That might actually be.
Are you going to send one to Courtney?
I could. I was going to say, would one fit in here? Because that's empty right now.
That's not big enough for a Joro spider. They literally go across giant trees, and you would not. I'll take a picture of one of them if we actually have, because I hate killing spiders, but they were so invasive. So I just wanted to give a shout out because I know a lot of us are about to brave the scariest season in the South right now, Joro season.
Wow, thank you very much. And in the background, in the beautiful chat room, we have our lovely Tabitha Meadows, who is running and keeping things all copacetic. We want to thank you. There she is, our Tabitha Meadows. And then way in the background, behind all the buttons and things, our producer Rob and Christine. They're back there too. So we just wanted to give a shout out to everybody. Grab your coat. But let's get back to the movie, Hokum. Hopefully you watched it, but just in case you didn't watch it, Richard Lale, do you have an unbiased synopsis of this fairly new film?
I certainly do. You might be asking yourself, how come we watched this movie? How come I spent $10 to watch this movie? How come I fell asleep halfway through it and then had to go back and rewatch it? That's what you may be asking yourself.
Oh, glasses are on early.
Glasses on early.
The story is about an American author who does not work with Llewellyn. I'm sorry, he doesn't. But an American author is he is working out the end of his trilogy, and he has decided to end it on quite a disturbing note. And then, as he is writing, you cut between his script that is being filmed and then also his real life. And as he is shutting down his computer, he sees the depiction of his mother, his deceased mother, standing behind him. Then he decides that he will go to Ireland to inter the ashes of both of his parents, which are now deceased. Along the way, he encounters a hippie, not quite a hippie, but a hippie, someone who uses mushrooms and psychedelics and laces his milk, a jovial fellow who lives in the woods. Well, when this author goes back to the hotel where he is staying, he encounters one of the workers telling some children a wild tale about a witch. A what? A witch who is living in the cellar. And not only does she live in the cellar, but she will chain up naughty children because she's also related to Krampus. And she will chain them where they are tortured by all of the other inhabitants of this Krampus world. So this author tells the children that they should not be listening to strangers and that they should not be hearing such horrible things. As it turns out, this is the part that I had to go back and watch because I fell asleep. As it turns out, the author's mother did not just die. She died in a tragic accident that he accidentally was playing with his father's gun, and the gun went off, and his mother was the victim, an accidental victim nonetheless. Well, this hippie says that there is the girlfriend of the manager is in the suite. She's upstairs in the honeymoon suite. He has to get up there. The hotel closes down for whatever reason, for repairs or whatever it was. Again, I was asleep. The hotel is closed down for repairs, and the American has been his milk, his whiskey rather, has been laced, and he goes up to the honeymoon suite where he encounters the deceased body. The man who has run the hotel had tried to convince him to leave. As we find out, the girl's body is in the dumbwaiter, and many things have happened. That he encounters a witch. He tries to escape. The body is moving all around. He hallucinates that he's seeing a donkey demon who is sort of reminiscent of the 1950s, 1960s television shows for children. And he sends a letter where he reads a letter how that his father hates him because he accidentally his mother, and he gets shamed by this donkey demon. What an ASS. Nonetheless, I can spell it, but we can't say it because, kid friendly. Anyway, he's a donkey, so I guess I could say ass because he's a donkey. I'm saying a donkey. Anyway, this ass belittles the author and tells him, of course, that you shouldn't play with GUNS, and he hallucinates, and the man comes back. Actually, as it turns out, the other man, the one who was in the woods, the hippie, has come back in, and he's trying to get back into the hotel suite. He's trying to get into the elevator, but the manager says, "Oh, no, he's already gone. I've taken him he was drunk last night. I took him to the airport. He didn't want to deal with anything." So the man gets in the car. He's like, "Okay, go back, go where, we discovered that there's a body, but you can leave. You can go. Everything is fine. We know that it was you, but you will just say that you escaped." Well, something wasn't right, because as this man was up in the honeymoon suite, the author was in the honeymoon suite. He was trying to ring the bell, and it breaks off, unfortunately for him. But then something had bugged the hippie. It had messed with him. He just, something wasn't right. So he came back in. "Why were you here?" he asks of the building manager. By this point, the bell was not fixed, but the wall was broken, and the author was able to pull the wire and ring the bell. So he ends up like the struggle ensues. The man goes upstairs, and the building manager ends up by the hippie man with a crossbow. So author is locked upstairs in the honeymoon suite. Building catches on fire. Author escapes down into the cellar so that he can escape. Unfortunately, he can't, because this is where he's encountering a witch. The witch is down there. There's no exit. The keys are on him. He has the keys. The building manager comes back. The building manager dies in the fire. Long story short, witch drags him to hell. The author makes peace with the ghost of his mother, and he escapes the chains. The witch has put him in chains. He escapes the chains before he is dragged to hell, and he wakes up in the hospital. Then the bellman comes in from the hotel, and he is dressed as an ice cream man with a bottle of whiskey, not vodka, for there's a joke there. There's a reason. He comes in with a bottle of whiskey, not vodka, for the author, and he makes a confession that he had actually put this hallucinogen in the whiskey, and it wasn't that it caused him to see things, but it helped him to see things that were actually there. And as this author looks down, he can see where his chains had been, the bruises on his wrists where the chains had been. And he tells the man to leave. But because he had the encounter with his mother, the end of the story, he ends up by having a much more humanitarian ending, something that left a little bit of hope to the ending of his trilogy. And that is the story.
That is a lot of hokum.
That is a lot of hokum. Thank you.
Well, Hokum. I mean, I'm telling you, that's why I'm saying Hokum. We watched it.
Well, I watched a slightly different movie, I think, but maybe there's more we didn't get, or that you might have left out one or two things. That was fabulous, though, Richard Lale. But Heather, do we have 5 more things that we might want to know about this film?
Yeah, we can go over a few things before we discuss it, if you'd like.
Yeah.
This is a 2026 movie. That's the first, of course, the basics, which I like to give you guys. It is, it began, or it was released first at South by Southwest Festival in March. I mean, this is a new film. It was directed by Damian McCarthy, who also written and directed an original story, also did Oddity and Caveat. So this is the 3rd film by this particular writer-director, auteur, if you will. This is considered his Hollywood debut. Its budget was $5 million. On opening, it earned over about 6.5 million. So it came out of the gate winning. And then to date, think about this coming out first in March, it's already earned over 17 million. So it's done very well. It's been very successful. It was also produced by the same people who did Weapons. That's another note. So here is a horror film for 2026 for the ages. Let's go over a few of the cast members. Most of them are Irish, so the accents are authentic, which is always nice to see. Of course, starting with Adam Scott, who many of you might recognize his face from Apple TV's constant commercials for Severance, which you see if you watch Apple TV. But he also was in Parks and Rec. I never watched Parks and Rec, but sorry, not my show. But he has also been in a number of horror films. We will not talk about Parks and Rec right now. That's another conversation for another time. We can have that war. But we watch Krampus. So we've seen him before in Krampus, as well as all of those others that were just up on the screen. He's done a number of horror films, The Monkey, Hellraiser, Bloodline. We can have that graphic again. Little Evil. And then, of course, Hokum. So he's a regular to these horror films of recent. Florence We didn't see her very much, Ordesson. She's Irish, and she is in a bunch of Irish TV shows. And so if you're familiar with Irish television, like Departure, Dublin Murders, etc., you would know Fiona. That's who she is right there. She left us halfway or very early in the movie. We also have Austin Emilio from The Walking Dead. He was the one that's the character, I think, a conquistador in the book that the author is writing. Jerry, who was named the hippie, I believe, in Richard Lales, he was in Hamnet. We saw him more recently when we talked about that. He was John Shakespeare in that. He's been in a lot of things. You'd recognize him if you saw his list. Peter Coonan, who was Mal, the bad guy, the caretaker, also an Irish actor. He was one of the troublemakers in We Have Always Lived in the Castle. You might recognize his face from there. Also an Irish actor. He was Bobby Dubbin. We also have Will O'Connell, Michael Patrick, all Irish actors. And again, Brendan Conroy, who was in The Secret of Ronin-ish. We also reviewed that movie here. He is probably one of the most well-known. He was the old man. What was his name in this one? Mr. Cobb, I believe, is who he was. In the beginning, he was in a wheelchair. So that's it. So it's a very small cast. But most of these actors have been in and around Irish film, Irish television, and then some of them have crossed over, and you may have seen their faces. Let's go to the word hokum. We've said, obviously, it means nonsense. We keep repeating that. It's just a bunch of hokum. I thought the origin was interesting. They believe the etymology comes from 1975 theater, where they used to call it being slang for overly melodramatic, exaggerated, ridiculous, and they think it derives from bunk or bunkum, combined with hocus pocus. So I thought that was kind of an interesting little tidbit that I got from etymology. It's kind of a cool word. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone use it outside of this movie until now. So, one of those things. Let's talk about why he made this film. So I read several interviews with him going over his interest in folklore and mythology. He also said he always likes a good witch movie. Of course, that goes hand in hand. He is Irish. The writer-director is Irish. And so he grew up with a lot of this folklore and mythology. He said they taught it in school. This was something, he said, I think stories of banshees and pukas were just part of his upbringing. So this wasn't something foreign to him. This was something that he lived with and liked to bring out. He also thought it was something was really creepy about witches in these films, that they always had so much power and they always seemed to be in control. So he really wanted to do a witch-based film, a witch folklore, dark horror, not dark horror, sorry, folkloric horror. And that is why he centered this on this particular film, centered the story for this particular film on witchcraft and folklore. Finally, number 5, let's talk about this house. Of course, we have seen many films here with creepy houses, old houses. That's part of horror films. It's a standard. But some have houses. This is the original graphic they had with the house in it itself, with the words coming out of the house, which is super cool. I love that. So this was this is not a real hotel. It is a private home they found. They went searching for a particular perfect house to be in this film. They went to a lot of creepy Irish homes, big castle types, big homes, and found this particular one. Again, it is a private home and they used it. And what's interesting to me is that, always interesting to me, is the way these houses become their own characters. Some become featured and are centered in a film and become icons of the film, but they aren't necessarily characters. And then in some cases, they become characters themselves. And what's super interesting is that they become the centerpiece of folkloric horror specifically, and also horror that is centered on a lot of like the fairy tale settings, the creepy witch in the haunted house, in the ghost story. They seem to be very they seem to be more prolific in films of this nature. So I think we've had a lot of films where we've talked about this. I know this is Richard Lale's specialty. He loves it. I mean, you could talk about Monster House, which is the kids version of an actual house that's a character. House of Usher, of course, the Overlook Hotel, which I don't know if that's really a character, but that is one of the most famous places or hotels or houses. That's horrific. 13 Ghosts we talked about here. Definitely definitely a character house. And I think you have some more, Richard Lell. I know you've rattled them off. We've talked about this before, right? Am I correct?
A few.
Yeah.
My number one house is the Addams Family Mansion.
Of course.
Number one. Number two, there it is. That's the original rendering, Charles Addams. The Addams Family Mansion it becomes a character of itself. It just does. Is it haunted? No, unfortunately, it is not. That according to the 64 show, but it is a character unto itself. I love the house from Murder by Death because the house actually does play. It's another Charles Addams rendering, by the by. The house in this one it's 22 Twain. The address is 22 Twain, and it's got rooms that flip, and it's only raining on the inside but not raining on the outside, so the house becomes quite the home. And then I think the house on Haunted Hill, 1959, with Vincent Price. Now this is an actual house in the film that is located in the Hollywood Hills, which is iconic in and of itself because it's a Frank Lloyd Wright house. And it is quite haunted. People who live around there, the Los Feliz murder mansion actually sits down below it, which if you watch Ghost Adventures, that was where you may have seen me in that one, the Los Feliz murder mansion. So those are my top picks as far as
the house. In my book, I don't talk about this particular film, obviously, because it's a 2026 film. But in my in my book, in the chapter about the 2000s, I talk a little bit about how the haunted house operates similar to the wild woods and how it creates this magical space that's frightening to enter. And then that's where the witch lives, especially the ghost witch or the phantom witch or the folkloric witch. We see this in The Witch. We see this in a ton of movies where you enter into this space that's now wild. And in the case of the house, it's the domesticated space that's become wild, or in the woods, it's just the wild where there's no domesticity, there's no laws anymore. And so I talk a lot about that. And it's super interesting how those two correlate and how those both are connected to the witch and to witchcraft, especially the ghost witch, especially the old witch, especially the crone. You think about Hansel and Gretel and all the fairy tales that had similar settings. So it's fascinating how they do that in modern horror. And that's all I have for you today, folks. That's all, folks.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay. Oh, Jason.
Oh, I was just saying goodbye to Heather.
Oh,
Goodbye. Am I done? Hold on. I got some cake downstairs.
cake.
Yeah, cake. I guess I'll start talking about the film though. It's fine. It's serviceable. I found it to be a little slow. I thought there was probably a better movie hidden in this film somewhere. They talk about having a Halloween celebration at the hotel, and I would have loved to have seen more of that. They only show a little bit at the bar, I think, and then it's kind of glossed over. I think one of the interesting things at the beginning, they talk about a figure known as the Cailleach, which is the witch. Cailleach is a word that you find in Irish, and you find it in Scots Gaelic, and it means hag or old woman. And in a lot of harvest celebrations, the Cailleach is praised. And in other harvest celebrations in that area, the Cailleach is feared. So sometimes it's a force for good, and sometimes it's sort of like a boogeyman, that instead of a boogeyman, it's a boogie woman who kind of exists on the margins to scare children. But that's a figure that you see a lot in modern paganism. And people praise the Cailleach, especially in the fall, all the way through Yule. So I was excited to hear that particular term and sad at the same time to see that the witch of the movie was the Cailleach, which I think is what they were hinting at the beginning of the film.
I love that she's a boogie woogie 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 woman.
Yeah, she can dance. She can go. She could go.
There also were Ogum. I think there were Ogums on the wall at one point, which is something you
Yeah.
see in modern Druidry. It was flashed like this, I think. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed it very much. I got involved in it. I did not mind the slow. I did not fall asleep. I got scared, like I like to get scared. I was intrigued by the house and by the characters and by the real mystery that was involved with all the supernatural, spooky, witchy stuff. Um, I got confused a little bit here and there, but I usually do on a daily basis get confused somewhere. It's like, wait, I didn't get that. And then again, that kind of gets explained later with the spiking of the drink. But it did everything what I want to see a spooky horror film for. I have a thing for Ireland and Irish people and old houses, so that's going to pull me in for that whole history kind of magical thing. I like that he was a writer. I felt sorry for him from the beginning. This cranky, messed up, writer with no joy in his life, and I wanted to slap him so many times. And I like to want to slap people within movies of how he's doing. And each of the characters, I felt like for a moment I was watching Clue or something. This person came in and this person came in and how they do. So it kept me. I liked the whole thing. I wrote down all sorts of little things that don't, it's like that liminal. They were always like liminal space between things, the threshold between things. The place, what kind of a place was it really? It wasn't a house. It wasn't a this. It was, I just kind of bought into all of that. So that's it.
I loved the fact that, yes, he was an author. In the original story, in the original ending, so the conquistador has been following this, looking for this treasure. And he has gone through the desert where he has found this certain ring in the sand, and of course has located this glass bottle with the message of the map as to where he's going to go. And he's got his son with him, and he raises the bottle. The only way he tries to break it, but there's sand and nothing happens. So he gets the idea that he's going to unalive his son and break the bottle over his son's head. And that sort of is his ending. And then at the end of the story, he changes it and he's like, okay, he tells the kid, no, I want you to keep hitting until this bottle breaks. No matter what you see, I want you to keep hitting. And I want you to follow the map. I want you to find the treasure. I want you to claim it as your own. And the little boy obviously is not going to do that to his father. And he throws the bottle into the sand, and the kid embraces the father and they hug, and it sort of is a hopeful thing. And the reason that this is important is because his messed up life, all of his messed up life, his father blamed him for the death of his mother. Even if it was an accident, the father blamed him. Because of that, the father turned to drink. The father became a drunk. Then he himself followed suit and became a drunk. And then he goes to Ireland, and there is the spiking of the bottle, and there is the hallucinogen, that all of these things are about the bottle. And in the end, you find out the answer to your solution is not in the bottom of a bottle. It's just not. So I did like that aspect.
Did they say that the kid was his son specifically? Because I took it as the kid was probably, to use a kinder term, servant or something, and had been coerced to go through the desert with the conquistador.
It could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought, I didn't figure it was either. It was just the kid with him. It was kid with him. But he fixed the movie.
I always assumed the worst about conquistadors. That's one thing history has taught me. Assume the worst about conquistadors.
The witch was interesting too, though, because was she bad or was she protecting her stuff? You know, her world. I mean, okay, so she liked to eat children or whatever, but she's not just wasn't just the monster in the world. It's she exposed the evil as much as being it, didn't she? That's what I saw. There was
was
more
right
like a folklore judge and land spirit kind of thing.
She's more like like the like well Krampus or like some of the characters out of the folklore of in Germany where they are coming down to get the people who are the evil ones, who are doing the bad things. So yeah, she wasn't just willy-nilly killing people.
Yeah, that's what I saw. So I felt for her.
I will say that Jason is absolutely right about one thing. He wrote in the comments that we all gave them $50 and me probably more, and that's absolutely true because I saw it twice in the movie theater. I talk about this all the time about some films were just made to be seen on the big screen. To me, this was one of them. I am a sucker for a good horror movie. I think this delivered. When I went to see it in the movie theater, it was dark, it was spooky, it was atmospheric. The imagery was insane, just big and in your face like that. And there are scenes I think that stuck with me, but like this, I haven't been jump scared. I haven't jumped and screamed in a movie in a long time, and this got me in a couple of spots. But the one when I think of this movie, the one image that keeps coming up is when he's down in the basement with the witch and he like lures the other guy down and he's sitting in his chalk circle and the witch is dragging the chains across and he's just like looking down and the chains are coming across him. Like I got chills in the movie theater watching this. And I think Adam Scott is amazing in horror. I compared to him in Parks and Rec, where he is also amazing. I think it just goes to show that he's a very versatile actor, and I loved Oddity, so I loved this. Like, I think that they did that justice. Like, it was that same atmospheric. I don't think it was slow. I think it built tension very well, and I was into it the whole time. Enough to have seen it paid for movie theater prices 2 times. Anyone who disagrees, Jason, I will be whispering your name to Waffles McGee later, and he will come to haunt your dreams. So good luck with that.
I do agree with you about Adam Scott, whom I really like in a lot of things. He's in the movie Step Brothers, where he plays just a giant jerk. And I usually find him so likable. And I was watching this movie, and his character is a jerk. And then I thought to myself, oh, yeah, he is really great at playing asses or donkeys, just like he did in Step Brothers.
Yeah.
And he kind of channels some of that again in this movie because he does a great job of that sort of entitled writer thing going on, which is something, of course, I know very well.
I totally forgot he was in Step Brothers. I just watched that like a couple weeks ago too. Though that's so funny. That's perfect.
That's one of the great things about him, though. He's a chameleon when he needs to be, right? I mean, it just can be anything.
Yeah,
I really like him.
I didn't watch this movie in the right setting to be able to fully enjoy it, but because of timing and everything. But I did enjoy what I saw. I really found it. I found the visuals to be great. I think I have to watch it again, but there's points where I think I would have made different choices. But I think he did what I think it's good. And I think what he did is good. I think the story is interesting. Of course, it's a classic story in many ways. But I think it's a good horror movie. I think it's really good. And I think the director has talent, both writing it, original story, and editing it. I'm directing it, excuse me. I don't know if he edited it or not. But there were some back and forths where he was jumping, and then some framing where I was like, okay, I would have done something a little differently. But maybe it was, again, I have to watch it in full in a better setting with my big TV and we're on a screen to make any comments like that. Really, I can't judge. But the funny part about this, which I always found funny, is not just this film, but particularly is when you watch a movie like this and then other movies get called into your head that don't belong there, every time they said Fiona, all I could think was Shrek, and that was problematic. When he was telling the kids the story about the witch in the woods that would eat them, and there's two little twin boys there wearing exact same clothes, I'm like, oh, I know where this is going. We've got twins in a horror movie. This is not red rum. But that didn't go that direction. And there was another moment where I can't recall at the right now what it was, but there was moments where these other movies were coming up. I'm like, stop. Why did they have to call her Fiona? It's ruining the tension. But that's just a feature of seeing a lot of movies that happens. There you can't. But I think the acting was good, and I really enjoyed the bellboy. I enjoyed Adam Scott. I enjoyed the character Jerry, with his conversations about mushrooms was very good. It was well done. So I think overall, yeah, this was a good movie, and I look forward to watching it again in the right setting so I can really get the full effect. So I think I won't be as confused in a couple parts, and I will be able to decide whether I would have made different choices or not. I'm surprised though. I just have to say, Patty, you were not put off by the goat situation, because my goat was a little concerned.
Oh no, I hid my eyes. I saw that. I saw the bit of a horn and I just went, no, I'm not going to go there. So I was, of course, put off by the goat situation.
I was going to text you, don't watch it, Patty. Don't watch it.
And then later they see the goat standing on the car. I'm like, oh God. But that was the end.
Yeah. Black Phillip was very concerned.
My wife and I, while watching this on Monday night, we did yell, why would you kill Black Phillip at the TV when we saw the goat on the ground?
Right.
That hurt us a little bit.
That did hurt.
Yeah.
The most horrific part, though, was the fact that they painted the floors in the honeymoon suite. They painted them white. That was horror. That was true horror. And then, of course, the honeymoon suite in all of its whites and pastels. The horror.
You love pastels.
The house was a trip, trying to figure out how could it be so big down below and so not so big up above, and
it's a TARDIS.
Just added to the magic.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, and the witch crawling up the elevator shaft. Amazing. That was so scary.
I did like the way the movie unspooled, like where you got like that he had killed his mother. It was sort of alluded to, and then it was like really, put really into focus later. And I liked that part of it. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah.
Yep. There he is. I love this. I love the fact that the circle is such a horror movie thing. It's usually a salt circle, but often a chalk circle. That's like everybody knows, even if you're not a witch in modern society, hey, if something evil's coming and there's magic, just get a salt and pour a circle. I mean, everybody knows that's the first thing. So, something has been learned, because that's actually not a wrong thing.
Right. And salt and chalk, compared to salt, will also keep away ants.
That is true.
I love how he falls asleep in the bed with the witch in the room. And after he does the circle, like I would have just stayed awake the whole time. And he somehow falls asleep. I was really impressed by that. I couldn't have done that.
He was drunk and high.
He was related to me. Sleeping with witches.
All right. Everybody, now Georgina wants to watch it. Yes, we've turned her around. Anything else to talk about this movie, or are we already up to let's vote on If I Find My Wand?
Well, we have quotes.
Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. I got thrown off with a quote. I got thrown off with a goat. I was doing so well. Quotes, Courtney, would you have some quotes for us? I missed Jason. I missed everything. I'm sorry.
I do have quotes. Full disclosure, I ran late today, so these are quotes thanks to producer Rob, who saved me and gave them to me. Ohm says, you need thicker skin than that to be a writer after he burns his the other guy's hand with a spoon. Nick says, I mean, aren't you afraid she'll get you? I bring some chalk. If you ever find yourself being chased by a witch, draw a circle around you, keep you safe. And Ohm said, if I ever think I'm being chased by a witch, I will look for a psychiatrist, not a piece of chalk.
Good line.
Ohm says, I'm sorry, but any story about a haunted hotel is pure hokum. Fiona asks, are you lost? And Ohm says, what does it look like? And she said, well, with that attitude, you can stay lost. Ohm says, I don't know if you've noticed, but there are some oddballs walking around this place. Cobb says, there are worse things than strangers out there, Yank. And Ohm says, my folks came here for their honeymoon. Always wanted to come back. Which, you know, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my God, I'm blanking.
Snake.
I'm distracted. Very, like, not premonition. Very, I don't know. Guys, yes, thank you. It's been a very long day. I'm so tired. My brain is not functioning at full capacity. So those are my quotes.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. And I'm sorry I messed up our whole lineup on this, which is my one job here, really. So Jason, do we have a Mankey movie movie?
Thing. We do. But before that, though, there was one quote that I thought was really funny at the end of the movie. Albie, who is the bellhop or something at the hotel, who says he's a writer, and he gets insulted throughout the movie. And he says, well, you know, will you read my manuscript early? And Ohm, is that whatever, like dismisses him. Oh, and at the end he goes, you know, will you read my manuscript now? And the main character, the Adam Scott character, goes, Albie, haven't I already suffered enough? Which I thought was just really, really, really funny, because when you're a writer, people ask you to read manuscripts an awful lot, like all the time. And this thing that I do has evolved over the last couple of years. It was supposed to be a Mankey movie trailer. It's kind of now become whatever that I want to talk about for whatever reason, mostly because I got tired of writing those jokes and I ran out of them. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about Ohm Bowman, who is the main protagonist of this particular film. He's a famous author. And while I was watching the film, I thought, hey, maybe I could tell some famous author stories, because a lot like Ohm Bowman, everyone that, you know, every time I go somewhere, people know who I am. They're like, oh, Jason, just like Ohm Bowman, because I too am a very famous author. If you haven't heard, I've written 10 books, which is 10 more books than Courtney, 9 3/4 more books than Richard Lale. He wrote a book introduction that counts for something. It's also 8. It's also 8.5 more books than Heather, and 8 more than Patty. So yay me! And for those keeping score at home, the rest of the Coven's IMDb pages are much longer than mine. My entry at IMDb says searching for projects. So there you go. All I do is write books. With that all out of the way, what follows are a few moments of author glory from my past. So it's Saturday night at Convocation, a big pagan gathering held every February near Detroit, Michigan, because Detroit, Michigan is definitely where you want to be in February. And all day long, I've been hearing nothing but, you are the absolute best, Jason. No one does ritual like you do. And other things like, what's up, Mankey? Dionysus ritual tonight is going to be freaking awesome. And at one point, I heard this lovely young woman say, hey there, handsome. After the ritual, my 2 gorgeous girlfriends and I have plans for you, and pants are not allowed if you get the hint. And yes, these are all very real things that people said to me before this ritual. So I'm getting ready for the ritual. And as my way, I've got to be styling and profiling. And I noticed that the badge they make me wear at this con clashes terribly with my outfit. So I leave it in my hotel room. The ritual, of course, is awesome. It's my ritual, so you know that it's going to be awesome. And one of the things about the rituals that we all leave offerings for Dionysus. And as my ritual revelers go out into the rest of the festival to spread Dionysus love everywhere, I pick up the big bowl full of offerings so I can leave those outside by a tree for Dionysus. And then, of course, as soon as that's done, I'm going to go upstairs to those girls, because that's what I do. Anyway, so I'm weaving in and out of hallways, and I get close to a door, and I hear some guy from Convocation Security say, "Excuse me, sir, you can't go this way unless you have a con badge." I look up at that guy, and of course I say, "Don't you know who I am?" And he responds with, "No, I don't," and calls security on me. It all works out at the end, but not knowing who I am, can you imagine? And by the time I get back up to the hotel room with the three girls, their door's locked, and I hear later that they are with some guy from the band that played earlier that night. Okay, here's story number 2. I'm in New York City for a few days between events a few summers ago, and a friend of mine says, "Jason, I've got us an invite to a big party going on full of pagan-type celebrities. I hear tarot goddess Sasha Graham is going to be there, and she probably has a crush on you. I think that this is awesome. Seriously, look up Sasha Graham." And I asked how he scored these party invites. He told me that he talked to the host and said, "I've got Jason with me. You know, Jason, Gen X guy, famous pagan author." And the host goes, "That's awesome. Bring that guy. Love him." So this party, really nice building in New York City. There's not just a doorman, but also a fancy guy who presses the buttons on the elevator. Whoa. So we get into the party, and they've got great whiskey. This is super catered. There's a few of the producers of Hades Town in attendance, the Broadway musical. And I'm walking around, and I'm just thinking to myself, my life is awesome. I'm the coolest person in the whole world. This is all I've ever dreamed of. And then we bump into the host guy. And the host guy scans my friend up and down, and then me. He looks at my friend, and then he looks at me again and says, "Who is this guy?" And he points at me. My friend smiles and says, "This is Jason, famous pagan author person." And the host just stares at my friend and says, "Jason Miller has short hair. I don't know who this long-haired guy is, but he's certainly not Jason Miller." To add insult to injury, Sasha Graham also had no idea who I was. So, a couple of things. One more story. As we have established, I have written 10 books, all of them for Llewellyn. And a couple of years ago, while I was researching the Raymond Buckland biography that came out last year, I went to the Llewellyn offices to sort through their library and read some personal correspondence between Buckland and Llewellyn's owner and publisher, Carl Weschke. And while I'm at Llewellyn, I go on a tour, because every author at Llewellyn goes on a tour of the facilities. And I'm walking through the warehouse, and I get into this great conversation with the people who work in there. As I'm getting ready to leave, one of them says to me, "Thanks for coming by. I'm a really big fan of your work." And I blushed, and I thanked them for the compliment because it was so cool to hear. And then I had to go back to the library to do more research. But as I'm leaving, I hear one of the people from the warehouse say, "That Jason sure is a nice person." And then the person who told me they were a big fan says, "Jason? Jason who? I thought that was Christopher Penczak." So, my life is just like the character in Hokum. 10 books in, you think it would be worth something, but it's really not. 10 books.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. All 100% true stories. 100% true.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
That's so sad.
All right. Now we have done quotes. We have done the Jason thing. And we love you anyway, as it says there. Now we vote. You guys, wands up, wands down. Hopefully we want everybody in the chat room voting. I can't find my one. Oh.
I give it wings up.
Up, snake up, wand up, 2 almost ups, almost erect, 3 erects, and Yeah, cat. So all right, everybody in the chat room, we are up, and almost up. That was an almost pretty good up for you, Richard Lale, and an almost pretty good up for you,
I
Jason.
enjoyed the house.
It's not bad. It just could. It's just not. It's not great.
Okay, we
was
got another
fine.
3/4 up from Robert Hicks, so that's pretty much what you guys are, kind of a 3/4. So we got a little
Yeah.
chubby there with 3/4 coming up. On's up for this movie. So, all right. So, as a world, we think that this movie is kind of worth it. We hear that maybe it's better on the big screen even than the little screen. But it worked for me. So, all right, my messages are moving around. Does anybody know what we're doing next week?
We are going to have the debate on whether Mary Poppins is a witch or not. So watch Mary Poppins, or the new one, or the old one, or both, and let's have that discussion next week. Mary Poppins, everyone.
Mary Poppins. Yay.
Mary
Yes.
Poppins,
witch.
everybody.
$10 was a big ask. $10 was a big ask, but
It was a big ass.
But
Courtney
what-
owes us drinks
but
or
what is-
something.
And the way I immediately, you put that in the chat, like who asked for this movie, and I did the Game of Thrones meme.
Yeah.
Tell Cersei I want her to know it was me. Like,
Yeah.
I take $10 more, Jason. It was worth it. You're gonna pay me $10 more to get waffles to stop bothering you.
All right, Mary Poppins for everybody. We have a few minutes left. I've never seen the new Mary Poppins, so this is good. I'm the world's biggest fan of the old one, so this will be good. Anybody have anything coming up recently that we should know about, live or online? Heather.
I'm going to talk about Mystic South again. And I hope that some of the people in the chat will be joining us next week. It starts on next Friday on the 17th. Bright and early, 9 a.m. we start up. We're doing ritual, though, and the welcome on Thursday night, and we have a little bit of a get-together. So if you're in the hotel and you're around Crown Plaza Ravinia in Atlanta, just north of the city, come join us. And 700 of your other favorite friends, witches, pagans, and spiritual folk. So look forward to that every year. And this year it's next week. Join us.
Yay. Thank you very much. One day I'm going to get there. Next year I will get there. Jason, any adventures of the author coming up?
It is a quiet summer for me. I'm just going to concentrate on growing things in the garden and finishing up book number 11. 11. Yeah.
That is good.
Then we'll just have to do this, I guess.
All right. Richard Lale?
I'm really easy to find. I'm the Gentleman Psychic. I am where all good gentleman psychics are sold, on every street corner. I'm here in New Orleans. I give seances. I do tarot readings. So message me, find me. I'm easy.
Thank you very much. Courtney, do you have time to do anything other than take care of Reptile?
No, it's the best thing in the whole world. And someone in the chat asked what my snake's name is. This is Linguini marinara. He is the sweetest baby ever to live, and he's tiny. But I have several reptiles that need to be worked with. We have a monitor lizard and a tegu. And the tegu will be 4 to 5 feet. So before she is 4 to 5 feet, we need to make sure that she doesn't hate us. So my whole summer off is going to be spent socializing the reptiles, which I love. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Very much.
Best summer vacation ever.
That is amazing. Thank you. That's a lot. I have lots of stuff coming up. I am going to be heading to Arkansas in a couple weeks, 23rd to the 26th at Eureka Springs for ObscuraCon.
I love Eureka Springs.
I've never been there. Is it good?
It's so fabulous. You are going to love every second of it.
Is he being facetious?
No, it's really lovely. Like,
Okay.
if I were to live anywhere in the Midwest again, Eureka Springs would be it.
Oh, thank you. Okay, then I'm excited. So I'm going to be
Victorian. It's very haunted. The springs, I mean, it's really lovely.
Okay, that's great. I'm going to Eureka Springs. Now I'm excited. And then I headed right to New Orleans. So hopefully I'll see you, Richard Lael, for New Orleans Paracon. All sorts of fun things. It's kind of an intimate Paracon, small groups, kind of exclusive groups. It's going to be really fun. Then I'm coming back to LA and I'm doing Midsummer Scream as part of the Winchester Mystery House. I'm doing 2 seances for Midsummer Scream. And then I get busy with from Virginia City to Scranton, PA, to Penhurst, PA, to Massachusetts, to Salem, to 2 places. I go 2 places at Pennsylvania, then 2. You can't remember this, so go to pattynegri.com and like me and follow me on social media and go to their websites. Everybody go to their, like them and follow them, and go to Mystery Control, go to the Witches Movie Coven, like us and follow us, because we need that. We need your appreciation, because we're insecure witches with goats.
Need your validation
And
badly.
snakes.
Validate.
And reptiles and spiders.
Oh my. Lizards and spiders. Oh my. So I'm gonna film with Kelsey Davies again. Yeah, actually, I think we got some stuff coming up with Kelsey. I love Kelsey. She's really fun, and she's local. She's a local LA girl with me. I know one place I want to do with her. We'll talk about that soon. And Ireland next year. Yes, I'm going to Ireland, and you got on a very magical witchy trip in January. Because Tabitha's been posting that for me. So if you want to go on a super witchy ritual spellcraft led with a traditional Irish woman who lives there, join me. Anyways, we are late. We went over. I want to thank Rob and Christine and Tabitha and all of you in the chat room and all of you watching it later. We have one more thing to do, because we are witches. 1, 2, 3. Yeah!